Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, today is yoga for anxiety. We are going to do moving, breathing practices that help get rid of a little excess anxiety and release tension in common places that we hold tension in our body. A little bit of silly and letting go, and then earn that relaxation pose at the end. So we're going to get started on our backs. Come on down to your back. Start to settle in. Land on the ground. Find your hips on the ground. Start to find your whole body landing on the ground. Let your shoulders come down into the ground. Let your neck soften and your skull land on the ground. And begin to allow your breath to start to arrive more fully. And notice if when I say breath, you suddenly started to pull with muscular force and really have control, fierce control of your breath. So just notice that. Perhaps practice softening the breath just a little. Give yourself permission to be here on your mat. Let go of all of worries of what's to come and what has been. Just for an hour. And then just gently exploring if you seem to have any natural pauses in your breath pattern. Just watching. And then see if you can add that natural pause at the top of the exhale. So bring in, see if you can add in a pause at the top of the exhale. So bring in your breath fully, exhale fully, and then add a gentle pause. And it's important to make it a gentle pause, not a forceful waiting till you have fear in the body and you can't breathe. Breathe in fully. Breathe out fully, maybe even an even slower exhale than the inhale. And then just a gentle pause. And then see if you can try this breath pattern, bringing in a full breath, bringing out a full breath, gentle pause, and then just see if there's a little bit more exhale. Try a couple of rounds of that. Inhale, exhale, gentle pause, and then a little second exhale just to see if there's anything else left in the lungs. And then let that go and just notice how you feel. And then try pressing the backs of your arms and your shoulders down into the ground. Press into the ground. We're going to start to fire up now. So pressing arms in the backs backs of your arms and your shoulders into the ground. See which muscles you can fire up across the back of the shoulders. And take your hands to the ceiling, elbows bent, and then take your elbows a little bit wider away from the torso and press the back of the upper arms into the ground and the shoulders into the ground. Just see which muscles fire up. Notice any tension in your neck. So we're kind of turning on muscle awareness to look for places of tension. So as you push your shoulder blades into the ground, notice if you're finding any places in your neck that seem to be tense or tight. Take your elbows a little wider and then press the backs of your arms and your shoulders into the ground. Now maybe you notice some more tension down into the lower back, maybe into the neck, maybe into the face. Notice where you're holding your tension. Pressing the arms down, exploring all of the muscles in the back and the neck. And then bring your elbows back towards the torso. Pressing the shoulder blades down into the ground. Bring the shoulders up towards the ears. Press the shoulder blades back and up. So press up and back. Hips are still on the ground. Notice your low back. Notice your neck. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then send the shoulder blades down while still squeezing them. And then let that go and let your shoulders just land on the ground. We're going to take our chin all the way over to the right shoulder. Notice where the tension is, where the stopping point is on the left side of the neck. Feel it. Take your left hand, the palm of the left hand down by the hip. Press the palm of the left hand down. So now you're trying to feel from the fingertips all the way up to the left temple. Slide the hand a little bit further away up towards the shoulder. Press down into the ground. And then see if you can feel like you're pulling the hand towards you without letting it move. Notice if you started to use your lower back or any other muscle group to make this movement, make this muscle fire up. And then bring that down, let that go. Head back to neutral. Take your chin all the way over to the left side and then press the right hand down into the ground. Pressing into the ground with the right hand, feeling the right side of the neck. Take the hand a little bit further away from the torso, up towards the shoulder. Press into the ground. And then feel like you're pulling the hand back towards you. See which muscles fire up. And let go suddenly and bring the chin back to neutral. Bring the knees in and give yourself a little hug. Maybe even rock it. Take some ankle circles with the feet. So point and flex and then take some slow circles with the feet. Reverse your circles. And then take the feet up to the ceiling. We're going to start to fire up the stomach. So pressing the hips down into the ground, press the rib cage down into the ground. Inhale as you lower the right foot towards the ground. Exhale as you bring it back up. Inhale as you lower the left. Exhale as you bring it back up. You're thinking about all of the lower core muscles, trying to use lower core pull tight towards the spine. Supposed to be generating fire right in this core area. Notice if your lower back is doing some of the work. Don't lower your feet so low if your back is doing the work. And then bring the knees in, give yourself a little hug. Take the left foot down to the ground, knee up. Take the right foot long and hover it just above the ground. We're going to take little lifts of the leg, firing up all of the muscles in the leg and keeping the hip down on the ground. We're going to lift the leg up and then down, and then take the leg a little bit over to the right. Lift it up and down. Take it a little bit further over to the right, up and down. Use your muscles to make this movement a little bit further. And then a little bit further. Maybe now you're going to turn your foot out and use a little bit more of the inner thigh, keeping your hips firm on the ground. And then take it all the way back towards the left foot. Little pulses up and down. So rather than just swinging it around, we're lifting it up and down as we go back towards the left of the left foot. And then bring that right leg down. Take a little shuffle of the hips. Take the left leg out, hover it, hips grounded, lift and down. A little bit left, lift and down. A little bit left. Keep the hips grounded. Maybe turn the foot out and take a few more lifts closer towards the left shoulder. And then all the way back towards the right foot. Lifting and lowering the whole way. Keeping the hips grounded, using the core, using the muscles of the leg. Bring that left knee down and take a little shuffle of the hips. Let go. Bring the knees in. Give yourself a hug. Roll on over to a side and come on up to a seat. Find an easy seat. Quick, easy seat. I'm going to take the torso in nice soft circles from about the rib cage up. Take some circles. Nice slow breath. And then back the other way. And then bring it back to neutral. Take your left hand down towards the ground. And then take your right ear to your right shoulder. Move the chin, feeling the left side of the neck. Press into the left hand. Bring the head back to neutral. Take the right hand down to the ground, pressing into the ground with the right hand. And then take the left ear over to the left shoulder. And you can take some movement, feeling where it feels good to find and let go of tension on that right side of your neck. Bring the head back to neutral. Make your way over to a tabletop position. Put the towel all over. So taking some moving and breathing in tabletop. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, sending the hips backwards. Inhale, forward. Exhale, backwards. And not worrying too much about the shape, but having an internal experience, starting to feel your hands on the mat, your feet on the mat, finding your breath. Maybe experimenting with breathing with that gentle pause at the end of your exhale. And then come on back to tabletop, and we're going to take barrel rolls with our torso. So long, slow circles with our torso. And then back the other way. And then turn your head to look at your left toe, and then switch, turn to look at the right. So little soft waves, and then find some movement, some angles, however it feels good for you to take this movement, turning and looking behind you, grounded in the hands, grounded in the feet.
So you know how sometimes, since the town is so been already owned and inhabited by other people, you find like someone else's hair stuck to the wall. I just found someone else's hair stuck to my arm. It definitely wasn't mine.
And then take it back to a child's pose and take a little side sway. Left, right. Moving the weight in your hands. You can either push your hands away from you or pull them back towards you. See which feels better. Little left, right sways. And then come on back to tabletop. We're going to make a circle with our left leg. So take our left leg out. We're going to lower and lift the left leg. Bring it closer to the left wrist. Lower and lift. So really taking your time. Lower, lift. Slowly changing each time you tap down. Bring it closer and closer to that left wrist. And then all the way back, using your muscles. So not just flapping this leg. This leg is strong and active. Use your muscles. Find some muscles in all kinds of angles in your hips.
Why is this your preferred method of torture?
And then when you get all the way back to where we started, take it a little bit past that right hip. Still lifting and tapping, lifting and tapping. Then land the left toes down. Sink the hips backwards a little. See if you can find the point where you've got a little bit of a stretch on the outside of that right hip. And then maybe lengthen the left hand a little and lengthen from the fingertips to the toes on the left side.
I don't know what I'm doing.
So right here, you should feel, and then from the toe. So left rib side. So you can push the ribs out to the left.
I feel that, but I'm definitely not in that position.
Bring it back to a tabletop. Reset. Find your breath. Right leg back, toe taps. So lift and lower. Closer to the right hand, lift and lower. Taking little tiny adjustments each time you tap down, getting a little bit closer to the right hand each time. And watch your compensation patterns, because as you change, you're going to want to use other muscles. You're going to want to use your lower back in a weird way. Maybe you're scrunching your face as this gets harder. Soften your face. Take the tension out of your neck. Strong stomach, strong chest, just to keep your body lifted. And then take the foot all the way back, nice and slow. Watch that lower back. Make sure it's not trying to do all the work. Use the leg, nice and slow. And then when you get back to the hip, go past the left hip. And then land the right toes. Sink the hips back until you feel the outside of that left hip. And then maybe stretch The right fingertips further away. Take the tension out of the neck. Rest the head where the head is comfortable. Breathe. And bring that knee back to neutral, tabletop, and slowly lower forward. On your way to crocodile, pause and take a couple of pulses. I said slowly come forward. You shouldn't have been going all the way down fast. Take a couple of pulses. Squeeze your core. Use your chest. And when you feel you've done enough pulses for you, do 2 more. And then come all the way down to a crocodile pose. One hand on top of the other. Shimmy the hips. And what can you let go of? Notice what comes up in this pose. We're going to start to move and breathe here. So bringing our hands to wherever our shoulders are comfortable just for a little balance. We're going to inhale, lift the shoulders, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Trying to use all of the muscles of our back evenly from our heels all the way up to our shoulders. Trying to take some of the tension out of the neck. We're lifting the shoulders, not the skull. And when we lift, we want to get longer in the spine. And you can lift the toes up off the ground if you're ready, lifting the toes. Maybe lifting the arms, take them wide. And then bring it back to crocodile. Shimmy the hips, loosen and let go. If you are not used to working with your back, if you're not doing a lot of our classes, use something for underneath your forehead here, maybe a little towel. If you are have been working on your back for a while, your back is nice and strong, you're gonna lift up. So if you're leaving your head down, you're just gonna have it so that it's propped. You have enough space to breathe as you work the arms. So otherwise, firing up the back to lift the shoulders just a little, nice and strong. Press the hips down into the ground, bring the arms forward. And we're gonna do that same thing we did with the legs, down and up with the arms. In a big circle, getting closer and closer to the hips each time we lift. The inhale is the lift, the exhale is the lower. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Again, you can leave your head down and just work the arms in the back for this. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Nice and slow. And with control, you're trying to find all of the muscles in your arms and how they feel when we use them at different angles. And then bring them all the way back. Maybe you need to turn your hands in a different direction. Bring them up, hover them up, lift the chest, the shoulders, the feet, whatever you can. Get long and hold. And then bring it back to crocodile. Shimmy the hips and let go. Bring the hands in under the shoulders, nice and close. Tuck the toes, lift the stomach up off the ground. So pull the stomach up, hips up, Engage. And then as if somebody pulled your tailbone, see if you can come straight up. Lots of strength in the arms and shoulders. Hold. Little pulses. Teeny pulses. Fire up the chest. And you can have your hands in any position here. Maybe take them to a different position, a little bit wider. Maybe a little bit closer. Make a triangle with the hands. Change it up. Don't always do the exact same patterns. Send the hips backwards for a high hip child's pose. Breathe. And then back to a tabletop. So in a tabletop, we're going to take some shoulder circles. So bringing the shoulders in a nice, slow, soft circle with a little bit of feedback from the ground. So you're still pressing into the ground, but you're taking circles with your shoulders. And then other direction. Reverse your direction. And then toes tuck, down dog. Find your down dog. Take your heels side to side. Bend the knees. Warm it up.
Stomach sounds like a frog. Just like riveted. Like,
and then find the stillness. Clothing adjust. Find your breath. Turn your world upside down. Inhale, lift the right leg high. Get really long. Maybe give a little bend in the left leg. Try to keep the weight even in the hands. We're going to take lower and taps, just as we did in the tabletop position. So get closer and closer to that right hand as you tap each time. And all the way back. Lift the right leg high. Bring it down about halfway. Hold it here. Get really strong between the right hand and the left leg. See if you can lift the left arm. Balance. Breathe. Wobble. Feel the wobbles. And then bring the left hand back. Right leg down. Regular down dog.
there might be a footprint on the mirror now. I'll clean that after class.
Inhale, lift the left leg high. Toe taps. Little slow toe taps. Nice and slow. Feel each movement. Find some new muscles. And all the way back. And lift it three-legged dog. Bring it down about halfway. Get really strong between the left hand and the right leg. See if you can lift the right arm. Breathe and balance. And then bring it on down, regular down dog. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, bring it behind the right wrist and find some movements. Inhaling forward, exhaling, sending right leg towards straight. Land into a low lunge. Try to get the torso a little bit up off the right thigh. Land the left hand. We're going to take the right hand. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, sweep it back down. Inhale, open. Exhale, sweep. Trying to move and squeeze from the core. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze, maybe hollow out the belly a little more. Inhale, open. Exhale, bring it out. Bring the right arm in a long, slow circle. Couple of rounds, long, slow circle. And then plant the right hand, bend into the back knee. Inhale as you rise up, high lunge. Find your high lunge. Find your center. Get really grounded. Upper body forward, step the left leg in, baby chair. We're going to move and breathe here a little bit different than we normally do. So we're going to think about the torso and our breath, and we're going to use our hands to help guide us. So sitting into a little baby chair, just enough so that you have a little up and down movement. We're going to inhale as we draw our hands up. Exhale as we push the breath out. Inhale, draw our hands up. Exhale, push the breath out. Connect with this concept of drawing in fresh and then pushing away what we don't need. Slower and slower. And then bring it to our regular mountain pose with our hands of prayer. Soften the shoulders and the face. Find your own 2 feet on the ground, maybe even close your eyes. And tune into that torso space, the breath space. Maybe feeling a little more room, a little more connection. Sometimes when we're feeling stressed, we're gripping around our breath and we have no idea we're doing it. So try to bring a little more softness to the torso. And then we're going to bring the weight onto the left leg, a little bend in the left leg, watching the hips. Bring the torso a little bit forward. We're going to bring the right knee up, right leg up. And we're going to do that tap, only this time in a full circle all the way to the back. So you're going to end up in a warrior 3, doing a toe tap. Getting closer and closer to your warrior 3 every time. And notice you're going to have to change the position of your torso as you move through your circle. Use the muscles of this leg. They're not just a wing flapping in space. Nice and slow and controlled. And then end in a high lunge.
Smooth transition. It's a smooth transition.
Find your high lunge. Frame out the front foot. Send left foot to meet right. Hold a high plank or knees down plank. Meet me in child's, or you're going to inhale, open, left hand up, come to the right hand. Exhale, hand down. Inhale, right. Find your breath. Inhale, open. Exhale, down. Inhale, expand, breathe in.
That is so loud.
And then lower the knees. And find a child's pose, reset. Tuck the toes, meet me in down dog. Inhale, left leg high, little bend in the right knee, and we're going to do the toe taps all the way towards the left wrist.
Did we not do this on the side yet?
Mm-mm.
Did I?
And then all the way back. Reach it long, and then bring it left foot behind left wrist. Whew. Find some movement. Inhaling forward, exhaling left leg towards straight. And then find a low lunge. Try to lift the torso a little bit off that left thigh. Plant the right hand. And we're going to inhale, open, expand, twist. Exhale, hollow out the belly. Inhale. Exhale, bring down. Connect with your breath. And then land, and we'll take a long circle with this left arm. 2 long circles, 3 long circles. Nice soft circles for the shoulder. Land into a low lunge. Bend in the back neck. Knee. Inhale, rise up.
You distracted me with Meg and then I fell over.
Find your high lunge. Find some stability here. Find some grounding. Upper body forward. Bring the back leg with you. Sit it down, baby chair. Bring the heels to touch in baby chair. So heels are touching, knees are out. Sit down. Squeeze the muscles of the legs. Try this funky chair. And we're going to slowly lift the heels and lower. And maybe you just lift them a little. Lift and lower. Try this funky shaped chair. Find some new muscles in the legs. And then bring the feet back to parallel. Little half chair. This time we're going to land on the right leg and bring the left leg forward. Toe taps all the way around to a warrior 3. Nice and slow. Finding all of the angles that this hip and leg can work in. Notice that you need to still use your lower core. Notice that your torso has to change position for your leg to move behind you. And then land in a high lunge. Find the steadiness of the high lunge. Breathe. Let go. Frame out the front foot. Press into the hands, right foot meets left. Lower the knees, keeping the toes tucked. This time, take your hands to a triangle, index finger and thumb touch. Come forward with the torso, engage the stomach. Little poses.
I did that last time, I'm going wide.
If you chose this last time, go wide. Change it up. Bring the torso up, turn the hands, fingertips point towards you. So you may need to bring the hands closer to the torso. Just opening up the back of the wrists. You can also practice bringing a little weight into the wrists. So moving the torso forward onto the hands in this position. Starting to practice holding some weight. See, my toes are lifted. I've got more weight on my upper body. And then bring fingertips to point towards you, palms up. So palms flip. Just opening the back of the hands.
Class flew by. It was a fun class. She passed on time now.
And then bringing your torso to a seat. Finding an easy seat. Finding your hips on the ground, get really tall in the spine. And we're going to do that spiral circle with our chest again. Just noticing any changes, repeating patterns, just so it helps us see if anything feels different. Switch the direction of your circle. Take your hands out, even with the shoulders, palms towards each other. Feel like you're pressing your palms towards each other, so you're pushing into the palms, but there's a ball in between, and you can't get to your palms. Press and fire up your chest. Press, 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 press. Take your chin down towards your chest. So keeping those arms active, you're still pushing, like you're really pushing hard. Imagine you're pushing as hard as you can. You're trying to squish that ball. And then take your chin all the way to the ceiling. Back to neutral. Left ear to left shoulder. Right ear to right shoulder. Back to neutral. Now, press the hands away from each other without letting them move. So now the backs of the hands are going to press into something. Press, 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 press. Take the chin down to the chest. Take the chin up to the ceiling. Back to neutral, left shoulder. Still arms active. Right shoulder. Bring back to neutral. Flip the palms so they're pushing away from you. Now push away. Push without letting the arms move. So arms are active, but you're pushing, 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 pushing. And then slowly let the arms move. So resist the movement. Push away, push away, push away. Let the arms come all the way behind you, and you might need to bring the torso a little forward, or you might feel tempted to. Try not to. Use the arms, push, 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 push. And then you're going to push your ball behind you. Squeezing that ball behind you. Try to keep your spine nice and tall. Notice any compensation patterns. Look around the hips. Look around the feet. Feet should be soft. Bring the chin down to the chest. Still holding that ball. Bring your chin up to neutral, up to ceiling. Neutral, left shoulder. Still squeezing. Right shoulder. Bring it back. We're going to slowly pushing our arms back together. So slowly. Resist the movement. So you're bringing the backs of the hands towards each other. And then we're going to flick. Flick the hands. Flick and soften. Flick and soften. Flick in all directions. So like you're kind of spray fairy dust all around you. Let go. Flick the hands. Take little soft shakes with the hands. And then bring the hands, palms up. Pull the fingers down. Pull the fingers towards you, and then away. Towards you, and away. Notice any clicking or grinding. Try to make this movement with the hands, not the forearms. So try to restrict the forearms. Let the hands and wrists do the work. And then all the way open, star fingers, claws, and fists. Star to fist. Bring the arms down, soften the arms, and then just take the chin to the chest. Notice the back of the neck. Chin to ceiling, notice the front of the neck. Chin back to neutral, left ear to left shoulder. Take that right hand, press it onto the ground. And then take it and walk it like you're tippy-toeing your fingers behind you. See if there's a different place you can move your shoulder and arm to maybe feel a little different stretch on that right side neck. Release your tension like you're trying to send your breath down your right side of your neck to wash away that tension. Bring the chin and head slowly back to neutral. Let that right arm go. Take the right ear to right shoulder. Take left ear to the ground. And then tippy-toe the fingers behind you until you find that spot where you're like, okay, that's where I want to stay. Bring the head back to neutral. Move your left arm soft. And just take some wiggle side to side with the shoulders. Bring them all the way up to the ears. Let them drop suddenly. Up to the ears, drop. Let them drop suddenly. And then feel hands to prayer heart center. Maybe even close the eyes and find the breath in the body. With your eyes closed, see if your right hand can find your left big toe easily. Look, see if you got the right toe. Bring it back. See if your right hand can find the other big toe easily. Bring it back. Left hand to right big toe. Bring it back. Left hand to left big toe. Bring it back.
I have to move my torso to get there.
Left hand to right big toe. Right hand to right big toe. Left hand to right big toe. And right hand to left big toe. Bring your hands back to prayer and just kind of check in. Notice if you were getting the wrong toe, had no idea which toe you were actually grabbing.
I was more focused on the fact that I had to move to get to my toes.
And then take your right hand to your left earlobe, Right hand, left earlobe. And left pinky pointer finger to your nose. And then we're going to switch. So you can open your eyes or keep them closed, but you want to take your left index finger so that your left hand is going to be the hand grabbing the ear, the opposite ear, and then your other finger on your right, your index finger on your right hand is going to touch your nose. So see if you can do it without poking yourself.
Oh.
Switching, which I can't do. Okay, let's start again. So see if you can do it. You're probably going to try to grab your nose and point at your ear. See if you can figure out how to do it. And if you can figure out how to do it, see if you can figure out how to do it faster without thinking.
I'm missing my nose when you go fast.
Yeah. You're probably going to poke your cheek, watch your eyes. All right, let that go and come on down to your back.
I like Monday classes.
So after a little fun and games with the brain, just kind of notice how it feels. Notice where your thoughts are at whether your mind is swirling or not. Notice how your energy in your body feels. Bring the knees in, maybe give yourself a little hug. How does your lower back feel? How does your torso feel? How does your neck feel? Ask yourself, see where the tension is. So many times our body begins to hold tension, so bring the feet to the ground, knees up. And take the knees softly side to side. Our body begins to hold tension, and it becomes such a status quo, like so normal for the body, that the body thinks that that is homeostasis. And it starts to turn off all the signals. So it says, okay, well, she always squeezes that right hip up, and she's always kind of clenched over and holding her right side body, and that's just normal. So we're just going to forget about that. But what we want to do is turn on awareness to all these places where we hold our tension, and see if just by bringing back the mental awareness, that mind-body connection, we can start to loosen that tension, start to soften it, start to let it go. Or at least become more aware of it when it begins, so that we can start to slowly decrease rather than just let it build on itself. So let your shoulders land on the ground. Let your hips land on the ground. And if you want to take your final resting pose with your feet on the ground and your knees up and your knees tapped in together, this is a super nice pose for your lower back. Maybe this is where you want to stay. If you're not feeling super soft in the lower back, please experiment with changing where your feet are in relation to your glutes. So you might need to bring them a little further away, or you might need to bring them a little closer, depending on your low back tension and your hips and your hamstrings. So play with it until your lower back feels fabulous. Land on the ground. Experiment with having the palms up or the palms down. Experiment with the palms far away from the hips, up towards the shoulders, or the palms down by the shoulders. Find the position where your shoulders feel like they can melt fully into the ground. And then bring awareness to the shoulders. We did some work with the shoulders, so maybe we can feel a little less tension. We can make them feel a little more heavy, a little more sinking into the muscles. And then find your breath. Allow your breath to slowly land in your torso. Maybe for a few breaths, just allowing a little muscular force. So thinking about that breath we did, pulling up the torso and pushing out. So thinking about that breath, use a little muscular force so you know what that feels like. Breathe in, pull your breath in. Exhale, squeeze it all out. Use some force. Inhale, breathe in, pull it all in. Exhale, push it out. Now particularly thinking about softness right underneath the rib cage. Can you let go of control of even your breath? Allowing it to roll in and roll out as if it were the waves controlled by the moon. Today I'm going to read from the Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. We all spill soup. Wanting to reform the world without discovering one's true self is like trying to cover the world with leather, trying to avoid the pain of walking on stones and thorns. It is much simpler to wear shoes. Everyone personalizes and projects. Personalizing is is mistaking what happens in the world as always having to do with you. An extreme example would be when a child doesn't do her homework and learns the next day a plane went down in Dallas. Somehow she believes that she's responsible. A more common adult version of this, and less extreme, is when your partner comes home sullen and moody and you immediately believe it's your fault. Projecting is the reverse. It occurs when we place the things that happen in us onto the world around us. Often unknowingly, we attribute our fears and frustrations to others. Rather than accept my own anger, I see you as angry. A generational example would be that I am afraid of dogs. I protect my children from dogs, and without asking how they feel, keep them away from dogs too. A subtler example of this is when someone is crying and we say there is no need to be upset because we are uncomfortable with the emotion. Or when we keep asking the other person if they are okay, when it is we who are not. The truth is that no one can avoid personalizing or projecting. There are only those of us who are aware of it and those of us who are not. Only those of us who own it when it happens and those of us who don't. But this difference is crucial. Not owning these things can end relationships. Owning them can deepen relationships. Humans have spilled soup for eternity and generations and made excuses saying, it was the earth shifted. And generations have secretly thought he meant to do it. If you want to save the world, then when you spill the soup, simply say, I'm sorry I spilled the soup. Landing on the ground. You feel a little softer and a little more forgiveness in your own body. So one of the things we often do in our healing journey is we go in search of answers. Looking inside, why is this way? Why is that way? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I doing this way? Why do I keep doing this? And we have these why questions constantly going around and around and around, and try to take out that cognitive layer. Imagine what it would be like to just see the emotion and let it be. Let it pass, let it move freely, stop asking why, and let it be. Imagine what it would be like to let the thoughts swirl and come, and notice that that's just what the brain does sometimes. And what could we do to just drop below and let it be as it is? Notice that we have some tension in our body that we often hold in a certain place. Can we just let that be what it is? And just try to soften into it, support it, notice it, and breathe through it. Maybe let it go. Maybe when we stop asking ourselves all these why and what and how questions, when we stop projecting perhaps what this was because of, and just let things be. It'll be easier to just say, I'm sorry I spilled the soup. Even to ourselves. We are coming up right on a 60-minute mark. So if you need to stay in your resting pose a little longer, please take the time to switch everything off and take some time in your resting pose. Letting go, taking some time. Otherwise, curl up in a little ball. Make your way over to a fetal position on whatever side is calling to you. Grounding down and arriving back in the room. Finding that internal center, the bliss center, the little spark of you that is unchanged by the thoughts or the feelings or the experiences. Find your center. And then come on up to a seated position. Bring your hands to prayer heart space. This gesture of bringing our left and right sides to meet in front of our hearts. As if accepting ourselves as whole and complete, exactly as we are. May we all know love, light, and connection. Thank you for joining us.